Welcome back to my channel. It's the old head abroad, KJ Mack. Now, I want to follow up on the Jason Forrester case that happened. The news broke maybe about a week ago about Jason Forrester. He's a man, 38-year-old man who lives in Miami. He's from Maryland, lives in Miami. And he went missing in the Dominican Republic, for a couple of weeks. Now, the news updates that I've gotten over the past few days is that he's been found safe and sound, according to his father. So now, for those of you that don't know the story, Jason Forrester went to the Dominican Republic on his vacations, and he met a woman over there, fell in love, obviously, and he ended up going to the Dominican Republic and marrying a woman, and then he brought her to the United States on the spousal visa. Now once she got to the United States, that's when things went south on him, and she ended up one day he came home from work and she was gone, cleared the apartment out, and then when he tried to contact her, she refused to take his calls, and then she blocked him. So now he got upset, obviously, and he went to the Dominican Republic to try to talk to her family and get them to convince her to get back with him. And then that's when he went missing. His father couldn't get in touch with him for a couple of weeks or so. And that's how the story broke. And so now, according to the news reports, he's been found, all right, safe and everything. So the debate is back up again in the passport bro community. Whether or not you should bring a foreign woman to the United States, if you go overseas and meet a woman, should you bring her back to the United States, on the fiancé visa or the spousal visa? And so that debate is back up again in our community amongst the passport bros. Now, I've said before that I don't like to say not to bring a woman back to the United States, because there's a lot of, I know that there's a lot of couples who are happily married in the United States, the international husbands, they brought women back to the United States and gotten married, or they got married overseas and brought her back, however way they did it. And you got guys that are in happy marriages, close to 10 years, more than 10 years or whatever, and they're doing pretty good with their international, with their foreign wives, So that's why I don't like to just be a 100% no on bringing a woman back to the United States. Now, I would say that now, it may, especially with the current political climate in the United States, and you have so much anti-immigrant sentiment, especially being directed toward brown and black immigrants, a lot of hate being directed towards them and everything. You see what's going on, with the raids and stuff, the kidnappings of immigrants, even the ones that are in the United States legally. So with that climate, and then also combined with the fact that now it's so much easier to move to a foreign country from the United States, right now you got like 68, I think currently, 68 countries that are offering some form of digital nomad visa, and it was just announced this week that Slovenia is about to start their digital nomad visa program, in November of this year, So with stuff like that, I would say now, since it's so much easier now to move overseas and everything, and it's probably more beneficial to you financially and in your relationship, in most cases, you would probably be better off just finding a way to go live with your lady overseas, than to try to bring her to the United States, and so that's what a lot of you guys should be looking at, is how do you find a way to move overseas. And the reason why I say this, not just because of the climate and everything, just that there is a lot of risk factor involved in putting a woman, through the visa process and all that stuff, there's a lot of things that can go south on you. There's a lot of expense involved too that's non-refundable if something does go wrong, like in the Jason Forrester case. Obviously with the couples that are in the United States that are doing well, it can go perfectly right for you, but it can also go wrong if you try to bring a woman to the United States. Now, if you're in a situation where you have no choice but to bring her to the United States, because for whatever reason you just can't move overseas, then my advice to you would be to try to spend as much time as you can in your foreign girlfriend's country. Spend as much time with her as you can. It's very rare for it to work out if you're only able to take like a 1-week trip to go see her, and then you go back to the United States, and then you don't get a chance to go back to go see her until another 3 months or so. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, those situations like that are kind of hard for it to work out. The relationships that I've seen work the best are the ones where the American man was able to go overseas and spend at least a month or more at a time, with his lady. You know what I'm saying? The guys that had a lot of time on their hands, retired guys or guys that had a real flexible job situation where they can go and just be gone for, a month or more at a time to spend with their lady and really build a relationship with her, so that's probably the best scenario where things might work out for you if you brought a woman to the United States, because even if you date a woman that's from America, the vetting process is so important, getting to know a woman, but it's even more so when you're doing an international thing, and you're trying to get to know a woman from another country. You're trying to get to know her family and everything. And you got a lot on the line. Like I said, these situations are not cheap. Travel and all of that, those expenses. And then if you do decide to go to some type of visa process, that's not cheap either, So you're investing a lot into that relationship. And even if you decide to move to her country to be with her, you're taking a lot of risk too, a lot of expenses, So the vetting process is so important in these relationships, You got to find out as much as you can about these women before you make a permanent decision on them, as far as, starting the process, a visa process, some type of immigration process, you need to find out as much as you can about her. Or even before you decide to move to her country to be with her or something, you really got to get to know her. And apparently, from what I can see on the outside looking in, I don't think that Jason Forrester really got to know his woman that well before he decided to bring her to the United States. For him to get, played like that, that looks to me like a situation where his vetting went wrong somewhere, Now, he lived in Miami, which is close to DR, but I don't know what his situation was like as far as whether or not, how often he was able to go see her. Like, how often did Jason Forrester go visit his wife, before he decided to marry her in the Dominican Republic? And then, once did he, and when he went to visit her, how long were those trips when he went to see her? And how much time did he spend with her? And what did he get to know about her? And then once he decided to marry her in the Dominican Republic and begin the spousal visa process, so the spousal visa process takes at least a year or so for that to, for you to go all the way through that process, So during the spousal visa process, was he able to go back and forth and visit her while she was waiting to get her visa, And if he did go see her and everything, how much time was he spending with her? How long was his trips? And for everything to go the way it went, somewhere in all that, something went wrong there where he was missing something about her. where he just didn't pick up on what he should have obviously seen, And the other thing that I would like to tell you is that if a situation goes south like that, I mean, we've all been through it. Ain't no such thing as a man with a perfect love life, saying everything goes right. His relationship obviously went south, right? So now there's something that he could have done once it went south on him. The way his woman did things, you come home from work, he came home from work, the apartment's cleared out, she's gone, and then, she doesn't want to get in touch with him, blocks him and everything. So that's an unsalvageable situation. And he should have seen that, all right? I mean, I know he's upset, I know he's in love, but when women do things like that to you, you have to see the writing on the wall right there. I mean, there was no need for me to even go to the Dominican Republic, If something like that happens, what he should have done was just went and got the marriage annulled, right away. Annul the marriage, all right? And then after that, he should have contacted USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. And you got to contact them by writing them a letter. So he should have wrote them a letter and explained everything that happened. Don't leave nothing out, and say that you're not involved with her anymore, and you don't want to have anything else to do with her immigration process. You're done with her immigration process. And then include the annulment papers and all that in there, like a copy of it and everything, notarized and stuff. And then he should have been done with it, So that's a lesson learned, guys, when things go south in a relationship, sometimes you just got to take the L and move on, and that's what you should do pretty much all of the time. Just take the L and just walk away from the situation. There was no need for him to even go to Dominican Republic to try to talk to her parents. I mean, what are they going to tell her? Because what she's already shown him is that she's not truly interested in being with him. It's a done deal. And so he put himself in a situation where he went missing. I don't know what he was doing while he was missing. I'm just glad that he's safe and everything, according to his father. But he could have avoided that, so he would have handled it differently. And that's what you should do when something goes wrong. Just remove yourself from the situation. But back to what I'm saying, you guys have got to do a good job of vetting the women that you meet, when you go overseas. You really got to take time to get to know them, and you got to have a lot of time to get to know them. And I'll be honest with you, international dating is not for guys that have limited time to take off from work to spend overseas with a woman. Because it's extremely difficult to develop a relationship with a woman when you only got like a little bit of time here and there, one trip, and then 3-4 months later you got to take another trip. Yeah, that's not enough time there to be with a woman. The international dating does work better for men who have that time, where they, a lot more flexible, and they can spend, at least a month or more at a time with their lady, overseas, really getting to know her and her family and everything, and, building that relationship up. So then, when you make that decision, however it's going to be, if you're going to bring her to the United States, or if you're going to, move to her country, whatever one you decide to do, at least you've built a good relationship with her and you know her very well, and you can feel a little bit more confident that things will work out for you, all right? So, like I said, as far as the debate whether or not you should bring her back to the United States, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it, because I know that it's not possible for every guy to move overseas and everything, And so for those that can't move overseas, but you want a foreign wife, and you probably are going to be bringing her back, the best advice I can give you is to just find that time, where you can spend as much time as you can with her, and get to know him and build a relationship. And for those guys that probably that are thinking about moving overseas and meeting a woman and everything, then yeah, that's why now, while you're in the United States, before you move, you setting yourself up, you know what I'm saying, making sure you got your remote job or whatever, however way you're going to be making a consistent living while you're overseas. That's what you should be setting up now while you're still in the United States, and preparing yourself, if that's the route that you want to go as far as meeting somebody overseas. You want to go the more permanent expat route. All right, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe my channel. I really appreciate when you guys support the channel. So, like, share, and subscribe, make sure you, and also get in the comments and let me know, your thoughts on, bringing a woman to the United States or moving overseas, or if you have any questions about, which decision you want to make, just let me know. All right, this is the Old Head Abroad, KJ Mack, and I'll see y'all next time.